Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Rockstars Unplugged. I was like, where's my camera? Where am I looking? How are you? How are you? I'm excited to see y'all today and talk to you about the 3 mistakes that are costing you clients. These are things that I've seen over years. Of course, I personally experienced them myself and see them with a lot of other organizers. And I want to tell you up front that I have something for you to follow along with this topic of conversation, and it's a quiz. So go here right now because we're going to be doing this a little bit together. So go to rockstarorganizers.com/quiz and type quiz in the chat whenever you get it. I also put it in the Facebook group so that you can do this. It's like a 1-minute quiz, and it's going to help you to understand this topic a lot more. Okay. So let me know when you get your quiz page up. And I'm going to give you a second to take that as I do a little introduction. And this truly is about helping you get the right clients and make more money so that you can spend more time at home with your family. And as I posted this morning in the Facebook group, I thought, the organizers who are truly the most successful with me, who have stopped making these mistakes that I'm going to talk to you about today, they have as their goal their families, to be able to spend more time with their families. And you think, well, how does that work? Like, if you're going to be more successful at business, aren't you going to have less time with your family? But it doesn't have to be that way. You actually can have both. And it's the ones who truly believe up front that they can have both, that they can have quality time with their family, and they can be successful in their business. Those are the ones who succeed the best. And they stop making these mistakes because they realize when they follow a guided and proven path, which is what I provide for them in my momentum program, they get there faster. They get where they want to go faster, and then they get more time back with their kids instead of spending a whole year, or in my case, 10 years, reinventing the wheel. So I talked to somebody this morning on the phone, and it was perfect. I took notes. And she said, where did I write it? Okay, here it is. She says, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I just want it faster. I want it now. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. It will take me a year to figure this out at this rate. And she's exactly right. It will. And that's on a good day, if you know what you're doing on a good day. Now, if you've never been a business owner before, you don't really know what you're doing, it will potentially take you a decade. So I'm here to help save you time. And it's not just about saving time, but it's about putting that time where you really want it to be, right? That's with your family. Type family if that resonates with you. Do you have kids that you want to say yes to? You want to take them on adventures. You want to take them on trips. You want to do fun and sweet and amazing things for them. And those fun and sweet and amazing things cost money, right? And you're like, I want to do both. I want to be a successful businesswoman, but I don't want it to overtake my life. I want my family to be the priority. That's what so many rock stars are up against and dealing with. And so, what I help you to do is to make more money in less time so you can have more time with your kids and say yes to them and make those amazing memories that you want to make, knowing that you are the one who made it possible. You didn't just have to depend on your spouse's salary or savings or credit cards to make it happen, but you actually worked hard. You helped transform somebody's home. You even gave jobs to people in your community. And now all of this has come together for a win-win-win. And then you get to take your kids on a trip to spring break or Disney, feeling like the best mom ever, knowing that it was your hard work that made that happen. I just think it's so beautiful. I've seen this happen even just in the last couple months. I have to brag on Angela a little bit. If you're watching this, I just think you're amazing, Angela. And you're so gorgeous to boot. And she joined Momentum a couple months ago. And she was sharing with me last weekend that she has already booked a trip for spring break. And she's looking at booking an overseas trip for the summer. And I think it's incredible because she barely just joined a couple months ago. And she joined during the Sell Your Packages Challenge, which was the first week of December. Now, we have that challenge again next week. You can join. I'll put the link here where you can join. The registrations are open right now. And I have a bonus for you when you do join. It's a social media workshop. I'll tell you about that later. But Angela joined this challenge. And she said, It was amazing. It was phenomenal. Like everything clicked for her. And she's like, I knew I could do more, but I wasn't sure how. And Holly helped me to do what I already knew I could do, but I just didn't know how to do it. And so if that sounds like you and you're already maybe a year or two in business, you're already all into this, you're already actively trying new things to make this work. Perhaps you've already tried dabbling with having a teammate, but you don't feel like you have enough work to give them to keep them busy. And so you're feeling like, man, I want to keep both of us busy. And if you're honest, maybe you struggle selling the idea of you plus another organizer or two to a team because you're like, well, they just want me. And that's where Angela was. And when she came to the challenge, everything changed for her. So highly encourage you, if that resonates with you at all, to come. And you might potentially have some similar results as her. She more than tripled her monthly income by the time that she got through with the last couple months. So a lot of people come in capped around 3,500, 4,000 maybe. They might have had a really good month around like 6,000 or 7,000. And they're like, yeah, but if I'm going to have a team, that's kind of intimidating and I got to do all this stuff and I don't really know how to make all that work. And so they keep themselves small. And I know that story all too well. I kept myself small for so long until I finally discovered the path to make it a lot easier on myself in so many ways. And now that's what I spend my days teaching other organizers to do. And it just lights me up. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And some of the biggest mistakes that people make that keep them from getting to that point of being capped at 4K to doing like 12K, 15K, 20K, 25K, 40K months for some of them. These are the three things that I notice over and over and over again. And they're all right here in this quiz. So if you want to know what is your top kryptonite, then take this quiz because it's going to show you. Okay. So you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Okay. The number one mistake. Now, they're not necessarily in order, but they are the top three. I'm not saying that the number one is the number one, but you get what I'm saying. The words that you say, like the exact words that you say, that is a top mistake. So what do I mean by this? The words that you say. In the business world, they call this messaging, okay? Messaging. What's your message? Another word for it in the business world is copy, like your website copy. So I can tell very quickly whenever I'm looking at an organizer's website, I do website reviews a lot. I see the same things, same mistakes over and over and over and over. One of the biggest mistakes is using clinical language. Okay, what do I mean by this? We systemize and declutter and organize and categorize your stuff so that you can functionally be efficient in your aesthetically beautiful home. I'm like, what did you just say? It's so clinical. I'm like, how about a place to relax with the people you love? That's what we create. So what do you really create for people? Those are the words that you use. Now, if they see those first words, it's going to be like, what? What language is she speaking? What is a system? What does that even mean? Now, they might already speak that language. They might be engineers and they're all about the systems. Okay, so in that case, maybe that is the word to use. In most cases, the words that you use are going to be more street language rather than clinical language. So I didn't even start this out by saying your messaging and your copy is the problem. I said the words you use. Messaging and copy are even clinical words. So if you're not connecting directly with the people, with the words that they use in the way that they would say it, you're going kind of right over their head or like right around the corner. And you might get lucky and they still hire you because they can't find anybody else like you. But it's not going to be that like, oh, instant soulmate connection where they're like, I knew you were the person for me as soon as I saw your website, that you live in your Lulu leggings and you love to shop at Anthropologie on the weekends, which is what my website used to say. And I can't tell you how many times people told me, I just told my husband, I don't know if I could live without my Lulu leggings, or I just told my husband, like, my second home should be Anthropologie. Whatever they say that they have in common, they connected on a word that was used. Now, the other side of this is words that you don't use. So if they would never use a certain phrase, I was talking with an organizer the other day who has invested in my done for you social media services with my golden thread method. And she told me, she said, I help organizers, or I help families who are more liberal leaning. She's out in California. And she's like, there's certain things that they say, like neurospicy rather than neurodivergent. I'm like, duly noted. And so I'm doing a lot of deep dive and study into her niche. We did an intake session the other day where I asked her a lot of questions about her brand DNA, her voice, and then I'm creating her social media to reflect her. And this is something that I will also show you how to do at the social media workshop this Saturday. For those of you who do sign up for the Sell Your Packages Platinum VIP, which is the top tier, it's $297 for the entire week next week. 5 days, 2 hours a day, 1 hour Tuesday night. So 11 hours of training. Plus, if you get the Platinum VIP, oh, my computer is ticking. Oh, I think it's probably Slack. Sorry, my assistant's probably talking to me. Let me close that out. Okay. I was like, doot, doot, doot. So Saturday is a workshop on how to get clients from social media and even how to get AI to sound like you. So I have been deep, deep, deep in the rabbit hole, you guys. I almost didn't want to tell you how deep I've been because it is nerdy, way deep in the rabbit hole for this last year, studying this stuff. I told my business partner, I was like, I don't know that anybody has obsessed over organizers' social media as much as I have. Not even paid. I just like obsess over it and I kind of pick things apart and I'm like, oh, that's good. Ooh, burn, that could use some work. And the things that I'm like, ooh, burn, that could use some work is when they say things like chaos to calm. I'm like, oh, it's just so overused. And that's not what people really say. It's not just that it's overused, it's that that's not what they say. They don't come to you saying, I want to turn my chaos into calm. I could go off. But anyway, I'm going to show you some really cool tips on how to build an AI person, a bestie, that sounds like you, that's infused with your values, and helps you to create posts for social media even faster. Or if you want to hire me and my team to do it, we could talk about that too. That is a bonus workshop happening Saturday for those who join the Platinum VIP of the Sell Your Packages Challenge, just FYI. Okay, so the words you use, that is a huge mistake. It might be the number one mistake. Might be number 2 or 3, I'm not sure. But it is huge because it is the language. And if people don't understand the language, they'll be like, parlez-vous français? I speak in no French. They're like, I don't get it. And they're just going to keep walking until they find somebody who does speak their language, right? Okay, number 2. The person you're talking to. That is a mistake. So just earlier today, we were on a call, and I've heard this like at least 3 times this week. She said, I'm struggling with my social media because I don't feel like I can get out of the family and friends bubble. Like either family and friends have hired me or I got a referral from family or friends, but I can't seem to get out of that bubble. And so if the person that you're speaking to is only in your friends and family niche, or only in your friends or family, they're probably not in your niche, which is the fancy word for who you're talking to. So who are you talking to? Your niche is a person. Some people mistake the niche for being like basements or offices. Okay, well, it might be a busy professional who has a problem with their basement or office, but that is the niche is still the busy professional. That's still the who. That is still the person that you are talking to, okay? So if you don't know who you're talking to, then you're honestly talking to nobody. If you don't know whether you're talking to Susie or Jan or Jamie or Laura, and then you just start talking, but you never really made a connecting point with either of them, whether by saying their name, by calling them out on what type of person they are, like, hey, mama, hey, organizers, is what I use. Hey, organizers. If there's no label or call out, then they're just going to not even think you're talking to them, even if they're sitting right in front of you. But most likely, the people in your family and friends bubble are probably not your ideal clients, anyways. And I remember the first time I got a client, her name was Stephanie, and she was not a friend or family. And I felt like I had hit the jackpot, like in legitimacy as an organizer, that like somebody who didn't know me hired me. And the way that she heard about me was from somebody else who didn't know me, but they had seen me in a runner's Facebook group, which, if you know me, is hilarious. Holly does not really run much anymore. I used to in middle school and high school. Played soccer. I could do a 6-minute mile, or maybe it was 7. I think it was a 7-minute mile. I don't know that I've ever done 6-minute mile. I do a 7-minute mile. I was fast. So maybe I was trying to live vicariously through the runners of Waco. So I joined this Waco runners group. Did I ever run a millimeter? No. But guess who saw me in that group? Some chick. I don't even remember her name. But she told Stephanie about me. She's like, oh, I saw this girl, Holly, in this group. Go talk to her. So Stephanie calls me up. I don't even know how I got off on this story. Well, we ended up becoming buds, okay? And she even helped me move to Michigan. She drove my Wanda the Honda 2000 Honda Accord with me back before Wanda had to rest in peace. She drove my 2000 Honda Accord all the way to Michigan from Waco, Texas. We became tight, and she was my first real non-family or friend client, and that was amazing. That was amazing. Where was I going with that? Oh, just the feeling that you get whenever somebody hires you who doesn't know you or knows somebody who knows you, but like a stranger refers you, you're like, oh yeah, I've totally made it as an organizer. I'm so legit. People on Google find me. I'm like the best, and you just kind of like feel so good about yourself. Well, that's possible for you. But the only way that that's going to be possible is if you dial in on the words, which is the first thing I mentioned, that you're using to talk to that person, so that by the time they come to your website, they're like, oh yeah, she's talking straight to me. And this is what one of my clients told me up in Ann Arbor several years ago. She said, I knew you were the right person for me because when I read your website, I felt like you had a camera hidden in my house. Like, how did you know these things? But what she didn't know is that it was very, very intentional that I used those examples because I knew that my ideal people would have that kind of problem. And my ideal people would have that kind of desire. And that's what I'm going to teach you how to discover and extract in this bonus social media workshop on Saturday that you can get when you sign up for the Platinum VIP, the highest tier of the Sell Your Packages Challenge, which is happening next week. Okay. So that bonus, how to get clients from social media workshop. I'm super excited about this. If you can't tell, nerd out about this stuff. Okay. So are you following so far? The words you use, the people you talk to, and what do you think the third one is? If you've already taken the quiz, do you know? Do you know what it is? It starts with a V. The V word. Not that V word. We talked about a V word today, the victim V word. And I was like, that is the opposite of taking ownership. I'm teaching them how to take ownership in their life and in their business to move forward. And the opposite of that is being a victim and waiting on somebody to rescue you. But that is not the V word we're talking about today, Alex. Can I have another V word for 200? That would be visibility, which the mistake that people make is the whole where people find you thing. So they're being found in the wrong place. So if mistake number 1 is they're using the wrong words, mistake number 2 is they're talking to the wrong people, and mistake number 3 is they're not able to be found in the right places. So if they're wanting to talk to people who are busy professionals, but they're hanging out at the library at 11 a.m. on a Friday for like reading hour, and they just connect with stay-at-home mamas, they are not hanging out in the right place. Now, those stay-at-home mamas might be really cool. I think they're pretty cool because they're crunchy, they're resourceful, they got a lot of good ideas, I always thought I would be a homeschool mom. I truly did. However, that might not be where the lawyers and the dentists and the doctors are hanging out at 11 a.m. on a Friday at the library circle, right? So they're hanging out in the wrong place. They're trying to be found, but not in the right places. So in that case, if they're trying to reach busy professionals, perhaps, and I learned this the hard way, they should go to where those people are, such as doing lunch and learns at the hospital, such as doing workshops at their workplace, pitching themselves to be in a networking group where those people or people who know those type of people will be, instead of going realizing, oh, these are all crunchy homeschool mamas. I wanted busy professionals. Okay, no shade against the crunch. I love the crunch. Got to be honest, love the crunch. However, you cannot get down on yourself when these people over here don't hire you, because those were not the people you were trying to attract in the first place. You're trying to talk to these people over here. So then you just take the data. You set aside the drama and you take the data. And this is what I train the organizers in my program to do, is separate the facts from the feelings. And I coach them on how to do this, because so many times either the facts drive the business or the feelings drive the business. A lot of times it's the feelings, it's the negative feelings. So then we kind of make this rule or this story about why something didn't work, and then we just get it in our minds that that's the way it is. Until you get a coach like me who's kind of straightforward, will tell you, honey, it doesn't work like that. Try again, but just try differently. Try like this. Don't put the rule on yourself that it has to be that way or that it will always be that way just because you got into an uncomfortable situation once or twice. And this is what I used to do. I would get into these things. I was on a niche roller coaster. Anybody else? Roller coaster, like, who's my niche? Who am I talking to? And so I would set out to do one thing, somebody else would show up, and I would think, oh, I guess I need to pivot to do that with the people who actually showed up. But looking back, what I wish I would have done would be like, oh, okay, I was doing this to attract this, but this showed up. So what can I do differently to attract the type of people who I actually do want to work with? And this is the whole who you're talking to thing. And this is a huge mistake. Now, at first, yeah, you want to talk to anybody. You want to talk to the grocery store clerk at HEB. Good old HEB in Texas. Anybody at HEB? I love their coffee. I'm not even much of a coffee drinker, but they have this blue and black coffee. I can't remember what it's called. It's the HEB brand. It smells so good. Every time I go to Texas, I get some. I can't remember what it's called, but it smells so good. I love their coffee. Okay, so you could talk to the HEB clerk, tell them about your business. You could talk to the homeschool mom at the library. You could talk to your aunt and the realtor that your aunt knows, and the realtor's son, and the painter that the realtor's son used. And it might take 6 or 7 types of people to talk to like that, like degrees of separation, to finally reach your person. My dating coach told me this. She's like, don't get discouraged if you go to an event and there's no men there, because they might know your man. I'm like, okay, I see, okay, Gio, okay. They might know your man. Your person who you meet might know your person. So don't get discouraged if you show up and there's no busy professionals with a sign that says, I want to hire an organizer. You're probably not going to find that anyway, right? Just like I'm not going to show up at an event and be like a man with a thing on that says, I want to marry a 5'2" brunette. It's just not going to happen, right? I don't know where I got off on all this. Okay, so those are the mistakes. I'm feeling a little blushed right now. Okay, so the words that you use are a mistake. The words that you are probably using that don't really connect with the person you're trying to talk to, which is the second one, is that you're talking to the wrong person. It's great that you're talking to people, but keep going until you find the person that you're trying to really talk to. And the third one is where they're finding you. Keep being committed to showing up where those people who you've already decided that you want to work with are going to find you. And don't let your emotions override you when you show up somewhere that's not really your right fit anyway, and you get discouraged or you feel kind of rejected, and then you just kind of want to go be a hermit introvert at home, right? Don't get discouraged. Just keep going. So those are the 3 mistakes that are costing you clients, is that you don't have a clear message, a clear niche, and a clear visibility plan. And those are the things that I help you to create. I will be honest, it is very hard to create these things on your own. I have not been able to create these things on my own. I've had to get coaches to help me with this. So you might take this and think, oh, she gave me all the answers. Well, I told you what the answers are, which is a clear message, a clear niche, and a clear visibility plan. But there is so much how that could take you many more hours to learn. There is so much nuance in that how. That's probably some pieces that you're still missing, even if you are in my program and think you're doing it right. And it takes somebody outside of yourself to say, yes, that is the path. I have never seen anybody figure this out on their own, to be quite honest, including me. So I want to encourage you that if this resonates with you and you're like, yes, I'm making these mistakes, these are costing me clients and I know it, I feel like I'm all over the place and I don't have time to reinvent the wheel, then I want to encourage you to come next week and join us. We're going to be talking about all these things. So this is a 5-day challenge, the Sell Your Packages Challenge. It starts on Monday. Day 1 is all about your vision. Okay, what do you want? If you're honest, what are you afraid of? Let's get in the open about those 2 things. Then we can determine who your people are, which is on day 2. We talk about your niche on day 2. So if that whole niching conversation resonated with you and you're like, okay, well, what does that mean? Niche, how do I find what does that mean? I will show you, give you some starting points, especially if you're in the VIP, we're going to have more chance to talk through these things. And then day 3 is about pricing. Raise your hand if you have tried every pricing model in the book. You've scribbled a bunch of things. You do a discount for this. You barter with this person. You did this thing over here. You're like, I don't even know what that invoice means. When I look at all those numbers, that's a mess is what that is. That was me right before I landed on this package pricing strategy that has been an absolute game changer. And I'm going to even show you next week how to sell a $2,000 package over the phone in 15 minutes. I'm going to show you how that works. And once you experience it, you will never go back. So how many of you would love to make $2,000 next week? That would be like an $8,000 month if you did that every week. That would be pretty cool, right? It's totally possible. I see it all the time. So that's pricing, day 3. Day 4 is sales. Okay, so now that you've got your vision, your niche, and your pricing, well, how do you have the conversation and talk to people about this? I'm going to show you that. Then day 5 is about visibility in the top 10 ways in 2025 that I believe free ways. Well, actually, one of them is paid. Google Ads. I don't think there's a free way to do Google Ads. But the top 10 ways that organizers can be found and be visible, which is what I talked to you about, the 3rd mistake about being found in the wrong places. In low places. The old Garth Brooks song. Friends in low places or something like that. Or is that George Strait? Oh, my Texas country roots. Low places. Let's see. Who sings that song now? It's killing me. Garth Brooks. Okay. I got friends in low places. Yeah, we don't want you to get stuck in the low places. And being visible in the right places is going to be what helps you to make money consistently instead of this whole whoop-de-doop-de-doop-de-doo, right? So these are the things to dial in, these 5 things I'm going to show you next week. Even if you have been through this before, there we go, Garth Brooks. I knew Aaron would know, my country girl, country Canadian girl. Thanks, Aaron, for the support. How did I ever think that was George Strait? Yeah, I don't know. That's definitely a Garth. Okay. Y'all game? Are y'all game for this? So here's where you go. This is the next step. And if you don't know your key mistake yet, then definitely take this quiz, and that's going to show you what it is, and it will show you how to fix it. That quiz will lead you to this challenge to show you how to fix it. And then don't forget, one last thing that I want to share with you is that we have a bonus workshop happening this Saturday. It's an all-day workshop, 11 to 4. You will get a 30-day recording, even if you can't come to all of it. And I'm going to show you in a simplified way, even if you've done some stuff with me with social media in the past, this is even more simplified. I'm trying to make it really easy for y'all to be able to put some stuff out there. Now, there's a lot of art and a lot of science behind this, and so it is an all-day workshop, and we're going to actually workshop it where you're going to create some stuff and get some feedback on it and be like, oh, this is how this works, right? I'm going to show you how to put content out. There's 8 types of content, and it's not just your before and afters and your how-to tips. That's not really how to get clients. Now, that might help, but there's 6 more types that a lot of people overlook. But like I said, I've been nerding out and studying organizers, I would say pretty hardcore since 2015. Wow, that's 10 years. And I've been noticing what works. And I've made an entire guide, and I've made an entire process and spreadsheet. Of course, I made a spreadsheet that is going to help you. What the spreadsheet really means for you is you don't have to create from scratch the starting place, the steps in the middle, and then the finishing place. I'm showing you, I'm laying it out for you, and then all you have to do is follow the process. And it's proven with what actually converts to clients. Now, it might not convert immediately. It typically does not. But there is a way to build value on social media with these 8 types of social media that you're going to be learning at this bonus workshop. So that is for those who sign up for the Platinum VIP. Saw your packages. So I would love to see you there. Set aside the day. And I think that's about it. I hope that this has been very valuable for you to show you what mistakes that you might be making so that you can fix them and go get more clients and get more money and spend more time with your kids, because that's what you want, right? You just want to be able to say, yes, yes, baby, I got it. And that's what you're here for, right? All right, well, that's what I'm here to help you to do. And I hope you have the most amazing afternoon and evening. Toodles, rock stars.